true peace. Happy holy day, Muslims and peacemakers. Welcome to branch temple number 24, World Temple of the Moorish Temple of America. We're about to get started today. Just go ahead and share the room real quick and get people to go ahead and join us. While we do that, I want to go ahead and give honors to all the members of the Moorish Temple of America, all members, subjects, denizens, prospects, etc. that are all throughout the global village. I want to give honors as well, main honors to Prophet Noble Drew Ali. I want to give honors to Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And Marcus Garvey as well. I meant to say Marcus Garvey first, but it's all right. Nonetheless, we giving honors, and we'll just get us started today. I'm just sharing the room, y'all, while they get ready to pile on in today for today's holy day, and get this link passed out to the family. True peace, shalom. Go ahead, let's finish these few shares, and then we're gonna open up. We're gonna open up with the divine supplication. How we do. Happy holy day, y'all. Happy holy day. For those that'll be coming back listening to the replays, just sharing out the room. That way people could join us. Sharing it to all the main social medias. And go ahead and join us on this special day. Do one more share. Tweet it out. And then we're gonna get started. All right. So let's open up with the divine supplication, y'all. Let's get straight into it. Go ahead and pin the link to the top of the room for the Civics one-on-one. That way y'all can also join us for Civics on Sunday Newcomers Gathering. And register at the link there above. So if we have any questions, we could also go through the Civics. Through the Civics link on here. Alright, let's get it started. Let's do this divine supplication, y'all. I'll be here to periodically check the room. Let's do it. Alright. Give me a second. Put it back on the screen so I can see who's coming into the room. Let's get it started. Say this week's with the chest. This week we gonna go a little hard today. A little hard, little hard working. We had a debate in one of our rooms I be in with a group of entrepreneurs. We was having one of those good old I like to call them probates, but we was having a good old debate session. All right, so let's open up with the divine supplication. Begin all prayers and thinking by using the all Heavenly One, the Most High, who is sustainer of all the worlds. We do accept the duty you have laid on us to clean up the filth made by the West and its non-Semitic fools. O my sustainer, we beseech you to keep your hand over us, to control the strings of the courses of our lives. And if we do wrong, please show thy divine blessings and forgiveness on us. You are the only one that can raise us true followers of the news bearers. And in thy name, we carry on. All right. So we're going to move on to our 19 affirmations. We're going to move affirmations. If you're coming into the room, go ahead and share the room. You can join us by clicking them gray blocks of words up there at the top that says World Temple. Become a guest member of the World Congregation. We are a Moorish Science Temple of America temple, chartered and incorporated. And you can join us by clicking those gray blocks of words, or if you see the green mansion at the top, this is branch temple number 24 of the Moorish Science Temple of America. We are a world branch of the Moorish Science Temple of America, and we honor all divine prophets. Come link yourself. So with that, y'all, I'm about to go ahead and touch on these 19 affirmations real quick. That way y'all could, you know, be in that same space of mind that we are in. So let's get to it. We accept this fact, the daily affirmation of loyalty of the children of the Elohim. We accept this fact, the eternal laws of nature, as revealed through science, past events, logic, and common sense, revealed as right knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. We accept this fact, the highest laws of nature is the cooperation and harmony of all living things. We accept this fact, our way of life as a means to the best end. We accept this fact, that loyalty is the greatest of all honors and treason is the worst of all crimes. We accept this fact that what is good for the Holy Tabernacle is the highest virtue, and what is bad for the Holy Tabernacle is the ultimate evil. We accept this fact that what is good for the Holy Tabernacle is the highest virtue, and what is bad for the Holy Tabernacle is the ultimate evil. We accept this fact that the Holy Tabernacle is the finest and noblest organization for all humanity, created by circumstances, and the ancient and mystic order of Melchizedek is the noblest of fraternities on and above this planet. We accept this fact that creativity, love, and cooperation are the essence of success. We accept this fact that truth and facts are always and has always been the originator, and we accept this fact that all worthwhile cultures and civilizations came about from the ancient Sumerians and Canaanite Egyptians and the Anunnaki, or the Elohims from the heavens, without which there would be none. We accept this fact that for the Holy Tabernacle to survive, expand, and advance, we need, first of all, a revolution of values and thoughts, which must start within each person by being truthful with themselves and about themselves. Therefore, we completely and categorically reject all myths, fictions, religions, and lies that have not been proven. That would include your heavens, your hells, your hellfires and brimstones, your horn and pitchfork devils, your winged angels, and your old man God character sitting on a throne up there somewhere. We deal strictly with facts. If you can't prove it, we don't want to hear it. That doesn't mean we won't listen to you. Just don't expect us to accept your beliefs by virtue of a title such as Reverend, Pastor, Deacon, Imam, Sheik, Rabbi, Minister, Theologian, etc. That is your sensationalism, and we deal with just the facts. We accept this fact that the only true revolution is a war of good against evil, right against wrong, fairness against unfairness, loyalty against disloyalty, sincerity against insincerity, honesty against dishonesty, and this war is fought within each person among the agreeable and disagreeable Elohims that make up your willpower. We accept this unity, and it will only happen with cooperation with all involved. We accept this fact, the total unification of all humanity on the basis of truth, that is, accepting people and races for who and what they are, respecting their culture, their language, and their beliefs, and expect the same. We accept this fact, the human race, its biological and cultural heritage is now under attack by our own morals, our self-righteousness, our desire to control industry, and these things attack the very existence of humanity. We accept this fact that males as well as females are equal in all things and should be dealt with as partners in all matters. We accept this fact that no one race of people is better than the other. In fact, no one wins the race and racism. We accept this fact that communication between different people is the cure to the ignorance that breeds the disease hate. We accept this fact that a good and well-rounded education could prevent most of the ignorance that plagues the world. We accept this fact that the all is just that, the all. You can't take from the all, you can't add to the all. We are all within the all is one. That is our concept of what you call a deity. To the fulfillment of these facts, we children of the Elohim forever pledge our lives, our sacred honor, and our spiritual zeal. True peace, true peace, true peace. And with that, y'all, we're going to move into the divine constitution and bylaws of the Moorish Science Temple of America. We're going to read through that. So if you're just coming in, go ahead and click those gray blocks of words. You can join us, become a guest member if you'd like to come. For those that come back and listen to the replays, just remember that as well. And I'm about to open us up for the Divine Constitution and bylaws, and we're about to get into this week's divine lesson in a second, and weekly readings. So before we open up that Divine Constitution and read those bylaws, let's go ahead and do this prayer, y'all. All right, y'all know how this go. 2 fingers up, 5 fingers up, facing the east, feet at a 45-degree angle. Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector and my salvation by night and by day, through his holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali. Amen. All right, y'all. Let's get into it. Act 1. The Grand Sheik and the chairman of the Moorish Science Temple of America is empowered to make law and enforce laws with the assistance of the Prophet and the Grand Body of the Moorish Science Temple of America. The Assistant Grand Sheik is to assist the Grand Sheik in all affairs if he lives according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And it is known before the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Act 2. All meetings are to be open and closed promptly according to the Circle 7 and love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Friday is our holy day of rest because on a Friday, the first man was formed in flesh, and on a Friday, the first man departed out of flesh and ascended unto his Father God Allah. For that cause, Friday is the holy day for all Muslims all over the world. Act 3. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice must be proclaimed and practiced by all members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. No members to put in danger or accuse falsely his brother or sister on any occasion at all that may harm his brother or sister, because Allah is love. Act 4. All members must preserve these holy and divine laws, and all members must obey the laws of the government, because by being a Moorish American, you are a part and parcel of the government and must live the life accordingly. Act 5. This organization of the Moorish Science Temple of America is not to cause any confusion or to overthrow the laws and constitution of the said government, but to obey hereby. Act 6. With us, all members must proclaim their nationality, and we're teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may know that they are a part and parcel of this said government, and know that they are not Negroes, colored folks, black people, or Ethiopians, because these names were given to slaves by slaveholders in 1779 and lasted until 1865 during the time of slavery. But this is a new era of time now, and all men now must proclaim their free national name to be recognized by the government in which they live and the nations of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained Noble Drew Ali, the prophet, to redeem his people from their sinful ways. The Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites who inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. Act 7. All members must promptly attend their meetings and become a part and parcel of all uplifting acts of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Members must pay their dues and keep in line with all necessities of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Then you are entitled to the name of faithful. Husband, you must support your wife and children. Wife, you must obey your husband and take care of your children and look after the duties of your household. Sons and daughters must obey father and mother and be industrious and become part of the uplifting of humanity. All Moorish Americans must keep their hearts and minds pure with love and their bodies clean with water. This divine covenant is from your holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali, through the guidance of his Father God Allah. All right, y'all. Let's get into these weekly readings. That was the Divine Constitution, and we're going to get into our weekly readings for this week. So you can join us, get a copy of the Holy Quran Circle 7 by clicking that link that's pinned there up at the top. The Civics 101, that's a free course that we give to our denizens, citizens, prospects, etc., villagers, however you want to look at it, of the Moorish Science Temple of America. And let's get into this weekly reading. Go ahead and pull it up for us real quick right here. All right. right, y'all. So we're gonna start off with chapter 25 as we do every week. And let's do this. All right. All right. So we're about to jump into chapter 25 here, called the Holy Covenant of the Asiatic Nation, which reads, "Ye are the children of one father, provided for by his care, in the breast of one mother had given you suck. Let the bonds of affection therefore unite thee with thy brothers, that peace and happiness may dwell in thy father's house. And when ye separate in the world, remember the relation that bindeth you to love and unity, and prefer not a stranger before thy own blood. If thy brother's in adversity, assist him. If thy sister's in trouble, forsake her not. So shall the fortunes of thy father contribute to the support of his whole race, and his care be continued to you all in your love to each other." True peace, true peace. So we got to remember the stronghold and the uniting bond that we carry as a people as we unite through the Moorish Science Temple of America. We have these divine instructions that we were given and, supposed to be in alignment with. So we got to remember that unity, y'all. So let's get into it. Next chapter is chapter 47 and 48. Chapter 47 is called Egypt, the capital empire of the dominion of Africa. And it reads, "The inhabitants of Africa are the descendants of the ancient Canaanite from the land of Canaan. Old man Cush and his family are the first inhabitants of Africa who came from the land of Canaan. His father Ham and his family were second. Then came the word Ethiopia, which means the demarcation line, the demarcation line of the dominion of Amexem, the first true and divine name of Africa, the dividing of the land between the father and the son. The dominion of Cush, northeast and southeast Africa, and northwest and southwest was his father's dominion of Africa. In latter years, many of their brethren from Asia and the Holy Lands joined them. The Moabites from the land of Moab, who received permission from the pharaohs of Egypt to settle and inhabit northwest Africa, they were the founders and are the true possessors of the present Moroccan Empire, with their Canaanite, Hittite, and Amorite brethren, who sovereign from the land of Canaan seeking new homes. Their dominion and inhabitation extended from northeast and southwest Africa, across Great Atlantis, even unto the present North, South, and Central America, and also Mexico and the Atlantis Islands, before the great earthquake which caused the great Atlantic Ocean. The river Nile was dredged and made by the ancient pharaohs of Egypt in order to trade with the surrounding kingdoms. Also, the Niger River was dredged by the great pharaoh of Egypt in those ancient days for trade, and it extends eastward from the river Nile, westward across the great Atlantic. It was used for trade and transportation. According to all true and divine records of the human race, there is no Negro, black, or colored race attached to the human family, because all the inhabitants of Africa were and are of the human race, descendants of the ancient Canaanite nation from the Holy Land of Canaan. What your ancient forefathers were, you are today without doubt or contradiction. There is no one who is able to change man from the descendant nature of his forefathers, unless his power extends beyond the great universal creator, Allah himself. These holy and divine laws are from the prophet, Noble Drew Ali, the founder of the uniting of the Moorish Science Temple of America. These laws are to be strictly preserved by the members of all the temples of the Moorish Science Temple of America, that they will learn to open their meeting and guide it according to the principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Every subordinate temple of the Grand Major Temple is to form under the covenant of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and to create their own laws and customs in conjunction with the laws of the Holy Prophet and the Grand Temple. The Prophet, Noble Drew Ali, was sent by the great God Allah to warn all Asiatics of America to repent from their sinful ways before that great and awful day that is sure to come. The time has come when every nation must worship under its own vine and fig tree, and every tongue must confess his own. Through sin and disobedience, every nation has suffered slavery due to the fact that they honored not the creed and principles of their forefathers. That is why the nationality of the Moors was taken away from them in 1774, and the word Negro, black, and colored was given to the Asiatics of America, who were of Moorish descent, because they honored not the principles of their mother and father, and straight after the gods of Europe, of whom they knew nothing. True peace, true peace. And that was chapter 47. That was chapter 47. I want to touch on that a bit because, you know, we've been, like I say, from the past week to week, these past couple of weeks, we have been chasing after these patriot movements and sovereign citizen movements, especially in the mentality of our people, you know, not understanding the purity that the prophet came with, especially in these lessons and teachings, and the science for us that are scientists of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Scientists, you know, scientists of peace and, you know, not dis-ease and going against what is natural, what is easy, you know, what is rightful. So, you know, we want to make sure that, you know, we get these messages out to our people every week. We touch on. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to the next chapter, chapter 48, called The End of Time and the Fulfilling of the Prophecies. It says, the last prophet in these days is noble Drew Ali, who was prepared divinely in due time by Allah to redeem men from their sinful ways, and to warn them of the great wrath which is sure to come upon the earth. John the Baptist was the forerunner of Jesus in those days, to warn and stir up the nation, and prepare them to receive the divine creed which was to be taught by Jesus. In these modern days, there came a forerunner of Jesus who was divinely prepared by the great God Allah, and his name is Marcus Garvey, who did teach and warn the nations of the earth to prepare to meet the coming prophet, who was to bring the true and divine creed of Islam, and his name is Noble Drew Ali, who was prepared and sent to this earth by Allah to teach the old-time religion, and the everlasting gospels to the sons of man, that every nation shall and must worship under their own vine and fig tree, and return to their own, and be one with their Father God Allah. The Moorish Science Temple of America is a lawfully chartered and incorporated organization. Any subordinate temple that desires to receive a charter to the Prophet has them to issue to every state throughout the United States, etc., that the world may hear and know the truth, that among the descendants of Africa, there is still much wisdom to be learned in these days for the redemption of the sons of man under love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. We as a clean and pure nation, descendants from the inhabitants, to amalgamate or marry into the families of the pale-skinned nations of Europe, neither serve the gods of their religion, because our forefathers are the true and divine founders of the first religious creed for the redemption and salvation of mankind on earth. Therefore, we are returning the church and Christianity back to the European nations as it was prepared by their forefathers for their earthly salvation, while we, Moorish Americans, are returning to Islam, which was founded by our forefathers for our earthly and divine salvation. The covenant of the great God Allah, honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be longer upon the earth land, which the Lord thy God Allah had given thee. Come all ye Asiatics of America, and hear the truth about your nationality and birthrights, because you are not Negroes. Learn of your forefathers' ancient and divine creed, that you will learn to love instead of hate. We are trying to uplift fallen humanity. Come and link yourself with the family of nations. We honor all true and divine prophets. True peace, true peace, true peace. True peace, Brother Jonathan. Let me go ahead and bring you up. Yeah, so we our weekly reading. We still got a little bit to touch on here with our holy and real quick. Call them out, touch on them a bit. True peace, all's well, noble.
All good.
I don't know if you can hear me.
Yeah. Clear. Come through clear.
True peace, true peace. All right. Thank you for joining us. I'm about to open us up with the next portion, a little bit of these instructions real quick. And then we can go into tonight's lesson and sermon. All right, so we touched last week, you know, on a lot of these points about why, you know, we can't seem to get it together as a people. But a lot of these instructions that was left for us by the prophet. And one of the things I want to go through is the holy instructions of unity that the prophet left, because that's the main point of what we're discussing. Through the breakdown of what I'm saying, by us having to come together and create the uniformity that needs to be created for us as a people. We missed the point of these holy instructions from the prophet, and like I say, in the pristine purity that the prophet came giving them in. Now, the prophet said, clearly we respect all divine prophets. So, we want to be able to understand that fact that you have to understand these teachings mesh automatically. So it don't matter where, you got this premises from, or that thesis, or precept from, they fall precept per precept right into one another, or, they can layer into each other. And that's, the beautiful foundation that the prophet left us with, with, with the instructions, as well as just the lessons of the science that the prophet, brought upon us, especially with the great scriptures that, he grafted himself and wanted us to take heed to, and, put the gospel into its continuation, so that we all could, adapt and, push forward with the science. So let's get right into it. This is chapter 26, the holy instructions of unity, and that's what we're about to read next. So if you want to know the chapter, you want to read along with us, that's going to be chapter 26. So chapter 26 reads, the gift of understanding are the treasures of Allah, and he appointed to every one his portion, and what measure seemeth good unto himself. Had he endowed thee with wisdom? Had he enlightened thy mind with the knowledge of truth? Communicated to the ignorant for their own instructions, communicated to the wise for thy own improvement. True wisdom is less presuming than folly. The wise man doubted often and changeth his mind. The fool is obstinate and doubted it not. He knoweth all things but his own ignorance. The pride of emptiness is an abomination, and to talk too much is the foolishness of folly. Nevertheless, it is the part of wisdom to hear with patience I'm sorry, I'm saying that word all bad. Their impertinence, and to pity their absurdity. Yet be not puffed up in thy own conceit, neither boast of superior understanding. The clearest human knowledge is but blindness and folly. The wise man feeleth his own imperfections and is humbled. He labored in vain for his own approbation, but the fool peepeth it in the shadow stream of his own mind, and is pleased with the pebbles which he seeth at the bottom. He bringeth them up and showeth them as pearls, and with the applause of his brethren delighteth himself. He boasteth it of attainments and things that are of no worth. But where it is a shame to be ignorant, there he had no understanding. Even in the path of wisdom, he toileteth after folly, and shame and disappointment are the reward of his labor. But the wise man cultivates his mind with knowledge. The improvement of the arts is his delight, and their utility to the public crowneth it with honor. Nevertheless, the attainment of virtue, he accounted it as the highest learning, and the science of happiness is the study of his life. So that affirms what what I just mentioned earlier about this, we being the scientists, with us being scientists, scientists of peace. There's a science of peace. you know, as much as people want to dismiss the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, we have so many people that, like I say, squeeze uh information out of the sciences of the Moorish Science Temple of America into their own structure, but won't give the Prophet his due respect, um, by understanding that their structure at the foundation of his root is built on what the Prophet has done for us as a people in the past, to the point to where they see the accomplishments of the Prophet, but they don't want to come in and join the pushing of the movement and pushing the movement forward, other than just take from the strategies and structures of the Prophet. So we want to make sure that we really stand on getting that message out, that it's one thing to forget the caveat, but if you haven't read the caveat, which I'm about to pull it up because that's some of the literature we're gonna go into tonight, coming from the Prophet, the caveat impetor. um we got to understand that the Prophet know who these type of people are, what they do. And if it's yourself that I'm speaking towards or about, is this is something that you want to look within, because we look for within ourselves for improvement, and we want to honor our ancestors, not just our ancient ancestors, but even our most modern, more modern ancestors as well. And especially when it comes to nationality and the groundwork that was laid, in that field of things. So the Prophet said, Moors are men, upright, independent, and fearless, who care for their loved ones and follow the Prophet to a destiny which is not uncertain nor unknown. They are fortified by the impregnable doctrine, built upon love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. It is therefore folly at its greatest height for smelly culprits with their insidious plans to invade such realm. So, if this speaks towards you, um, you want to see past your transgressions. This is where you come clean them up, and come into the fold properly. Because it's one thing, like I say every week, to want to start your own nations and your own ministries, but we have a jurisdiction, especially ecclesiastically. We all tied together regardless, because there's no different separate spiritual realms other than your natural uh your natural spirit realms that are organically there, and those dimensions. So as the Prophet understood what he was doing, we want to come in and make sure we doing things upright. And it don't matter if you just having to correct yourself for your own improvement. Starting today, we have a lot of refugee Moors out there without a branch temple, and they just float and continue to float. And this is a lot of because behavior, the ignorance, you know the wallowing, and not want to do the right thing or be told things of correction, things for their own improvement. So it's for the wise, and you can become wise at any time, any moment. We know not as humans when that spark is going to be given to you. So if we can help create that epiphany and help ignite that spark, that's what we're gonna do here every week, especially being consistent, because people got to go through trials and tribulations before they even realize that you have a consistent group of people here that really pay homage to the prophet, really stick to the foundational teachings, and give that foundational message of the unity, of the holy instructions that's coming from the prophet, as well as our leaders and members of the temple. So like we give honors to the forerunner, we give honors to all the messengers. We want to give all honors to the members here in this space that continue to join us week to week, because you guys play an important role too, and very pertinent role in this. So continuing on, the prophets say, pride, but their own bad planning brings down wrath upon their heads like the sword old Democles had. Intrigue and scurrilous cunnings find a difficult path to travel within the ranks of the Moors. This is so because the Moorish movement has been well planned by the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, whose latent powers are abundant, unknown, and may be called into action as a matter of defense at any moment. Prophet Noble Drew Ali knows the people within his ranks who are interested. They are the vanguard of the movement. As the Moorish hordes increase here in America, all of the Moors are active, not passive. A member's interest can only be in one direction, and having traveled over the road years before the Prophet knows where every member is along the road. A few feet below is another road where schemers work, where traders grin, and culprits bask in the sun. They think they are on the same road with the true Moors. But the Moors are high above on a pinnacle where they might view the destructionists as they fall for the last time, and their bones bleach in the sultry midday sun. Hungry scavengers flying high, catch scent, devour and leave crying out. This is the caveat emptor that the prophet says. He says, cast out the dead carcass. The Moors high above see these plotters, purveyors, the worst that exists, hurl themselves downward by their own works as the hawks away. So, this is not the only thing we're gonna touch on as far as, when the prophet is being prophet being pretty much copied after, and they're not paying the prophet his proper respects, because the work that was done by the prophet is being copied, and we want to make sure we understand, like I say, that these things have been put in place, with real, with real tedious concentration and great alignment for this day and time, because the prophet knew what he was doing. So let's get into it some more, because I want to touch on the literature, but also as well as some of the some of the prophecies from the prophet, because we touched on some last week, but these things were called out for. One of the things that I just looked at, it said the prophet said they will take this movement down so low it will disappear from the face of the earth. So, and that's what happened, as we talked about yesterday, because the movement was big. If you go back and look at these pictures, during the prophet's day and time, the prophet had it jumping. Just like the master teacher, just like the Nation of Islam. The prophet had it, moving, jumping, and swinging. And we really need to understand what happened. That's why I say we got the patriot movements, and you got these sovereign citizen movements that are distracting you from the movement. And that's really the main focal of what we're talking about. The divine and national movement is a divine and national thing, and there's a science to this structure that we're talking about here. We ain't just talking about doing something of a process, and these things don't have no verified information, to the point there's proclamations all across the board. Now you may find things that um, leave a sour taste in certain some people's mouths because of what's being said about the prophet, especially when it comes to uh when it comes to you know um certain Moorish groups uh being put on a terrorist list and things like that, because you have certain branches of the movement that get themselves involved, like I say, with these patriot movements and sovereign citizen movements, that really doesn't benefit the whole divine and national movement in any kind of way, other than bringing bad energy and bad light toward the movement, and it kind of pushes people away from getting directly involved in the movement, because they don't want to be involved with anything that comes off terroristic and all of this stuff. um we have different branches of the movement and different parts, but we need a unified body, so that way when we put things into a standard, this standard could actually spread across the whole divine national movement, and each branch temple will be on point with each other, especially with the knowledge that come up out of these temples. um it's for those that really have put their study time in, and really have done the divine work for understanding the science of the temple, and really digging deep into the history and the study of these things, because there's a lot of uh you know there's a lot of counterintelligence that goes out about the movement, and where it's directing where it's directing us to. And like I say, we want to make sure we go through this every Friday, because we give people that opportunity to ask those questions and answers, and really ask questions about the movement and learn much as they can. No question is a hard question for us. It might be an intense question, but nonetheless, that don't mean we can't answer that question. So this is one of the things that was said uh, by one of the Moors that was around the prophet at the time. The prophet said, "Don't think that a fez or a turban on your head makes you a Muslim. Muslims are born, not made." So it says peacemakers are born, not made. You don't be made a peacemaker. You don't be made a Moor. You are born. You're born Moorish. You're born indigenous. You're born an indigenous peacemaker. And this is why, if we take this back to the scriptures, especially, you're born again. This is baptismal. This is why you have a holy shahada. This is why uh this is why we follow these ancient teachings, so that way you know we understand what it is that what we're conveying, because this says it in the book of John. "I tell you the truth, no one can enter the kingdom of God unless he is born of water and the Spirit. Flesh gives birth to flesh, but Spirit gives birth to spirit. You should not be surprised at my sayings. You must be born again." That is coming from the prophet Yahshua HaMashiach. So you're not made a Moor. You're not made uh, uh, you know, you're not made a indigenous person. You're born indigenous. You're born a peacemaker. You must be reborn again. This is, like I say, the reason for the Shahada, the reason for coming to link yourself with the Holy Family of Nations. Because we get it misunderstood. And I think I touched on this last week that you really have to dig into the fact that Moor means a civilized black person, or Nubian, or indigenous person, melanated. All these things that pretty much in this modern day time, under certain European jurisdictions, which like we touched on before, they wanted to make everything black seem bad. So those terms that mean uncivilized, this is the terms that we follow under, because they put these terms in conjunction with the terms that represent us as a people and what we call ourselves. So for us to stand on and stand firm and stand on the principles of civilization and us being civilization builders, this is where the word more comes into effect. You associating yourself with somebody that is alive, that is not falling under those descriptions of what they call Negro, black, and colored, because you are alive civilly in the eyes of the law, spiritual law, divine law. And there's many ways to describe that in many different languages. But we understand over time that the word Nagus was the title of nobility going further back, and then it switched over to the word Moranos. And so we have to understand, and even the fact that they try to use that as a way to say things of dead like nature and all of that. And this is the science behind this is the etymology, this is the grammatical science behind it. Because other than that, how we looked at black was the fact that it was alive. Now, over the years, especially during the John D and Elizabeth era, that changed when the necromancy began to get a little heavier, and the rulership of the pale skinned British. So we have to really dive into this stuff, because this is a science for us, and we have to understand how this science connects all of us, and really utilize these teachings to connect everybody. This is the reason why the information is multifaceted, it's multidimensional, and can be utilized for for a universal purpose, for a universal reason. But just simple and plain, you must be born again. So let's get into some more of these sayings of the prophet. And these sayings are coming from people that was around at the time the prophet was around. The prophet said, "Make yourself perfect upon all subject matters, that you may act intelligently on all lines of procedures." Of all lines of procedures. The prophet said, make ourselves perfect on all lines of procedures. So that means we need to understand business, economics. There's a lot of more things that we need to be, insightful about. There's a lot of more things out there than the tunnel, vision of knowledge that, some of these temples, talk about. We need to be a lot more insightful. And if we had that unified body, This could be that way, and it could be customary. Every temple is gonna have that flavor. This is what we touch on every week. For the past couple weeks, every temple gonna have their own flavor. So it says the prophet said, many of you who think you are running away from the prophet don't know that the further you run away from me, the closer you are coming to me. And when you wind up running, you will be right in my arms. That goes for those people that think they copying the prophet. And then, hey, I'm not no more. I don't have to, sign up to be a more. Basically, you can't be made a more. You can't be made a Muslim. You got to be reborn again. A Nubian. New being. You got to be reborn again. Baptized in the spirit and the water. That's a whole different thing. So, we got to really honor these lessons and really put, our people that are members and guest members in our temple congregations on this information weekly. Like I said, we're supposed to be reading El's Holy Qur'an too as well. Getting into that some more and, really waking it up, because we need to actually understand, not just the so-called unorthodox side, but, what the prophet wanted us to really dive into, which is the gospel, the living gospel. And so, this is a prevalent thing that needs to be done. But just reading the Quran, period, in its entirety, is what it's time for. Not just the Circle 7 Holy Quran. This is what we use, for our divine instruction. But when it comes to these, sciences, we want to honor all divine prophets. So that means we touching all the divine scriptures, all the holy books. We're going to be touching on every holy book. So let's get into it, get into some more of these sayings and prophecies. This is something that's heavy. This one says, the prophet said, before the end of time, I'm going to lower down the evil spirits and let them incarnate. That's something real heavy, because, with the current events that we dealing with, the music and all of that, prophesied like he was put into a spaceship and took it to the future, which it does say that in these sayings as well, the prophecies. So, and this is a saying from the prophet, about the movement. The prophet said the Grand Sheik of a temple should go to the temple, hang the charter on the wall, say the Moorish American prayer when it is time for the meeting to open, and if no one comes to the meeting after he sits and waits for 1.5 hours, then take the charter down off the wall and go home. So the prophet say, Grand Sheik, don't waste your time, Grand Sheik. Don't waste your time. Especially what we just read by, before the end of time. Because, that's what we seen. Every Lord and Spirit. We are in point 3 South. of the divine, clock of destiny, or the divine cloak of destiny, that's where we at. So to add on top of that, it said the prophet said, I would like to save half of the people, but I'm going to try to save a fourth of the people. That is when the fire comes at the end of time. All other Moors that heard the prophet speak on this said that he said there was just going to be a handful saved. I can count them on my fingers and have fingers left over. So I think what that's saying right there is one temple, one prophet, and we all need to become like the prophet. Spread the message of the prophet. One of the things that I listen to repeatedly in my meditation sessions is that it's I can't remember the brother's name exactly, but one of the things he talk about is Christ, and everybody is Christ. Everybody represents that form of consciousness, which is correct, because if we understand what the scriptures say in accordance to the Bible, uh, in the Bible, I'm gonna try to forget the exact verse for us. Yeah, so in the scriptures it say, in your lives you must think and act like Christ Jesus, and that's Philippians 2:5. So with that, that's basically saying if we don't take up the Christ consciousness, and there's gonna be very few that do it, and we seeing, like I say, the structure that was put in place. We have a problem with saying uh with our people saying that they are the only one that are unique to do this, but we look and we get into business and we want to have a monopoly in that field, in that industry. And you can do that if you be creative and create your own catalog, your own category. You can become a monopoly on your own. But when somebody really established that and really set the precedence for that, we ignore their uniqueness. We ignore their likeness. And this is what what these prophecies are saying. Like, we got many that want to come and be the prophet, but they don't want to work. They want to copy the prophet's work. They don't study the prophet, because then they would be in the temple. They would have their own branch temple and not putting themselves, right back under the jurisdiction of the jurisdiction that they're trying to free themselves from. It's crazy. It say the prophet said there's but one Allah, one prophet of the temple, and one Moorish Science Temple of America, with all of the reincarnated prophet Noble Drew Ali's, and the many split fractions of the Moorish Science Temple and the Moors' blind acceptance of them. The fact still remains. One prophet, one temple. The prophet said, I have come and taken away all the excuses. The time for excuses is over. No more worrying about what the boogeyman will do to you if you be successful. Just go be successful at uplifting your brother and sister. That's it. That's all we got to do. That's it. So, like I said, if this speaking towards you, you wanna understand that the prophet said. You understand? The prophet said, "I forgive you of everything that you did before I came. You are responsible for your deeds now. When you become a member of the Moorish Science Temple of America and accept these life-changing teachings, you are now responsible for everything that you do henceforth. You can lie to everyone in the world except yourself. Your heart and your mind keeps a registry." the aura, the Sajin, and the Akasha. For those that know, we're not just one of these so-called new woke people. This is people that they studied, done their work, that know what they talking about. So when you understand that you are the beneficiary of America, you are the true American, that you got nothing to worry about when it comes to doing certain processes, but or not processes, I'm sorry, but procedures, business standard operating business, procedures. But you need to read what it is that you're getting yourself into. You need to study. It says the prophet says that we need to have warehouses. It is time for Moors to start purchasing land and having warehouses filled with essentials to survive the first wave of the destruction that is sure to come upon the earth. It said the prophet said Moorish leaders don't burden my Moors. A Moorish leader should never put more on his brother or sister than required. It said the prophet said when you take care of temple business, go in numbers of 2, 3, 5, and 7. So we supposed to be coming in and working in unity. You trying to say something, Brother Jonathan? I don't know if that was you coming off your mic. Yeah, we need to be coming in unity. And these sayings got all of the direction for us.
Yeah, I mean, I was just thinking while you were like saying this, I'm just thinking to myself, there's plenty of people out here getting paid, pretty decent, working, American jobs with whatnot, and you know, I don't know if people be hoarding their money, thinking that they're trying to become millionaires, but that's not the American dream no more. I mean, the American dream should be how can we make use of, these incomes leverage kind of manner based on what we're purchasing towards an abundance-based environment update. Like the updates have to come through we the people, and there's your joy from that point on. Is how I've been looking at it. But if people are looking to just become a millionaire in competition with their brothers and sisters around the world, that's just unsustainable in my view.
That's right. That's right. That's right. I was reading this book the other day, and it really went into the aspects of money from the scripture standpoint. And when you see it, it really hit home on what you just said, because there's the understanding that you got people that are really chasing after riches, versus understanding that when you do that, you're putting yourself in subjection. People want to put themselves in the subjection, and but don't want to have a structure, especially a structure that's been around and established, well established, based on nationality, that really protects them from these things. Like I say, they want to copy the prophet, but they not doing what the prophet did in regards of nationality. We got a lot of people that want to create tribal nations that don't get the same respect as the real indigenous nations or indigenous peoples, the true indigenous peoples, or what the prophet put in place. That's been in place going on 100 years now at this point, and really bringing our funds together. I think we read that last week, something about that last week on holiday, or it was either Sunday, last Sunday. about how we should pool our funds together, and then take those pool of funds and do things with them. This is this is the reason why we went so hard on the financial structure we have here, the temple economy, the temple ecosystem that we have, because versus a lot of people that do come into our ecosystem for secular reasons. The main core of what we have is, we have the temple pledges, the treasury bonds from the temple, and those could be purchased and actually go into actual real investments that we come together as a congregation and put our funds into. We don't come together as an American nation and say, well, what do we want to add to the gross national products? You see what I'm saying? Where do the citizens all together get to decide on that? And if we do get a chance to decide on that, that still goes, that still falls back on us, like the prophet warned us about, because we should be in the polls, we should be voting. So we can't get mad if we're not taking, political action towards voting things in. So with that, y'all, let's go ahead and get to some more of this. See what we looking at. All right, let's get into some more of these prophecies right here, some more of this literature. So, touching on what Jonathan just said, I want to go ahead and read this one right here. It said, the prophet said, one day you will see a $20 bill in the street and will not bend over to pick it up. It is said that one day the United States dollar will collapse as other nations move off the US dollar standard. It is predicted that this will all but make US currency. Mm, mm. Yeah, so with that, y'all can see what Bitcoin is doing and what the nations is doing right now. So everything that we read, coming from Noble Drew Ali, is really, really, it's on point. And this is 100 years ago. It's 100 years ago, and he giving us this information. This information lined up perfectly. What's taking place? Uh, you know, what is taking place right now. Mm. So let's get into it. Some more. The prophet said, Moors, you're gonna be saved in a conflict that cannot be told in words. And that's the political actions that we're talking about here. That's the political actions. The prophet said, at the end of time, those that will be in the apparatus will be able to look down on earth, see people that fleeing for their life. This for them Moors that don't read the science, because they don't really get it. That same apparatus is the same apparatus that Honorable Elijah Muhammad was talking about. The prophet said, I took the covers off all the secret organizations. When one reads the doctrine of the Moorish Science Temple of America and compared to what is taught throughout the mystery school systems of the world, it will be obvious that the prophet removed the secrets long hidden about how man's own thoughts can make or mar his future. Today it is called self-help or self-development. And Yeah, so you even got that book, you know, that they came out with. But you know, we wanna you know, we wanna take heed to these messages. The prophet, like I say, was on point. You know, from all of to the regular to the regular sayings to even what's considered the weirdo, you know. So uh let's get into this to these warnings from the prophet. And I'm gonna go over this link one time before I change it out. For those that have come back, listen to the replays. Like I said, y'all want to listen to everything that we talk about on these replays. Just don't skip through. Really, you know, soak in the knowledge and the lessons that we're talking about here, because this ain't your average information. And you know, you might not hear like this anywhere else too much. You know, they might not go into too much detail, you know, unless they are on the same wavelength and vibration as us. And, you know, really respect and honor all the divine prophets and messengers that came to give us these divine. Um, so with that, let's go into uh, this links, this civics 101 that we have pinned up to the top of the room. This is how you join the temple and become a member of the temple. So we're gonna go over that real quick. And you know, y'all want to come in, learn about the civics education we have, our civic virtue structure that we have, which is basically, you know, understanding the habits, the customs of the community, of us as, you know, temple members. So also, you know, our main points with the civics 101 course, which is civic engagement, as well as uh, like I said, the civic virtue, which is our customs. The engagement is the process that we take our collective action as a people, as a community, to address concerns, you know, throughout the nation and things like that. So our holy instructions read: Friday is the holy day. O ye who know, when the day is proclaimed to supplication on Friday, the day of assembly, hasten earnestly to the remembrance of the Heavenly Father and Divine Mother, and leave off business and traffic. That is best for you if you but knew. And when prayer is finished, then may ye disperse through the land and seek the bounty of God, and celebrate the praises of God of 10, and without stint, that ye may prosper. So all chaplaincy temple services and meetings are to be open and closed promptly according to the Circle 7. And love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Friday is our holy day of rest, because on a Friday the first man was formed in flesh, and on a Friday the first man departed out of flesh and ascended unto his Father God Allah. For that cause, Friday is our holy day for all Muslims and peacemakers all over the world, according to Act 2 of the Divine Constitution and Bylaws by the Noble Prophet Drew Ali, which states, in conjunction with the above cited law, stating all temples and subordinate temples are to conduct holy day service every Friday, starting promptly at their respective time and ending promptly at their respective time. All civilians, patrons, denizens, prospects, and ministers are expected to attend the temple for Friday holy day temple service and meeting. On Fridays, the Moorish American, Moorish Asian, and Moorish African Muslims and peacemakers all come together to supplicate and to illustrate that which Allah has blessed them with. The meetings and temple services are to open according to divine love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. At no time will Templars, adepts, ministers, patrons, or outside congregational guests be allowed to disrupt the holy day service, nor will civilians be admitted under the influence of alcohol or any severe intoxicants. All civilians attending the holy day service must have their heads covered with either a turban or fez or kufi or spiritual covering. Baseball caps should not be worn in the temple. The Sunday school meeting is mandatory, and all Moorish nationals and temple denizens must promptly attend their meetings and send their children to Sunday school, and the teacher must conform himself and herself to the temple one-on-one questionnaire, and let every civilian man, woman, and child exercise his or her 5 senses who was able to do so. Because out from your Sunday school comes the guiders of the nation, and now the entire global village. So according to Act 5 of the additional bylaws, or the additional laws by the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, every subordinate temple should have 2 Sunday school meetings held. The first meeting should be held 1 to 2 hours before the adult service. Children's Sunday school should be conducted by the director of the Children's Sunday School and programs. The Sunday school meeting is designed to assist the members in learning the temple one-on-one questionnaires and developing an understanding of just what these holy keys mean and how they ought to be applied to our everyday lives. The divine constitution and bylaws, along with the Moorish prayer and the holy covenant of the Asiatic nation, El's holy Qur'aan, El's holy Injiyl, and the civics lessons of the Holy Temple of Moorish Science are also subjects of major concern for the student who is trying to complete his or her mandatory requirements for pronouncing their temple civilianship and global nationality. All lessons for the adult Sunday school classes must be prepared by the Grand Sheik as the divine minister or the assistant Grand Sheik. These lessons, called by us novites or templist additions, may be submitted to the students for completion and returned to the temple. Once the lessons are completed and graded, they must be placed in the active members' temple district file. The Sunday school temple service and meeting is a wonderful opportunity to study the liturgy, teachings of the prophet. No civilian is to become disruptive during the Sunday meeting. All templars must bring paper and pen to the temple service and meeting, along with the basic temple literature and assignments. No templars or patron is to eat food or other snacks during the temple service or meeting, but water is permitted. All templars must attend their Sunday temple service and meetings as diligently as they attend their holy day temple service and meeting. Both were called out for by the noble Prophet Drew Ali, and is required as a matter of law. According to the Divine Constitution, Act 7, in part, all Templars must promptly attend their temple services and meetings and become a part and parcel of all uplifting acts of the Moorish Science Temple of America, and now also Moorish Science Temple of Africa, Moorish Science Temple of Asia, and adjoining world islands on behalf of all indigenous peoples. For membership, all heads of temples of any temple jurisdiction are not to charge for naturalization or to overcharge for cards, buttons, or anything issued by and through the prophet. Those who contribute to any of the proceedings are not Moors, civilians, or patrons, but robbers. Temple nationality and membership in the Holy Temple's vast estate, what we call a public beneficiary trust, sisters and brothers, kin and kinfolk, is free. Not only here, but all over the world. All kin and kinfolk desiring to become a civilian of a subordinate temple must read the messages from the temple secretary and download the application for naturalization. The secretary of the temples are to help all newcomers by explaining the naturalization form and application affidavit for membership of the temple's vast estate to the new prospective civilians of the temple's vast estate, or what we call a public beneficiary trust, and arranging for him or her to be consulted by the royal council of said temple or subordinate temple. The royal chairman or woman will set the date for the new temple prospect to be interviewed by the royal council. The new temple court civilian, upon completion of the royal council's consultation at the newcomers gathering, the new templars will proclaim their temple nationality at the next upcoming holy day temple service and meeting. After the new civilian prospect proclaims his or her nationality, they will be given the mandatory requirements necessary to earn their free national name and royal title of nobility as a true American royal. These requirements are as follows, and in accordance with Chapter 47 of the Moorish Circle 7 Holy Qur'an: Egypt, the capital dominion empire of Africa; the Moorish prayer, Chapter 25 of the Moorish Qur'an; the Holy Covenant of the Asiatic nation; the 101 Qur'an questions for Moorish Americans, Asians, and Africans; the Divine Constitution and bylaws, and the additional laws from El's Holy Torah, El's Holy Injiyl, El's Holy Qur'an, the Holy Tabernacle Family Guide, and also the Holy Tablets through our civics course for the Sacred Halls of Learning. Once a new civilian or templist has learned these lessons verbatim, he or she will be interviewed by the Royal Council as the chaplaincy to determine if the new civilian is qualified to represent himself or herself as a faithful Moorish American, Moorish African, and Moorish Asian, Muslim, or any indigenous peacemaker. and communicated to the ignorant for their instructions, and communicated to the wise for thine own improvement. Once the new civilian or template has cleared the mandatory requirements with the royal council, he or she will be naturalized by the Grand Sheik and Divine Minister of said subordinate temple. So those are the instructions, the holy instructions for joining the temple. You can click that link, that Civics 101 link to join us. You can read through it yourself as well. And I'll be adding the Patreon link to pay your temple dues here in a second after we go over the Holy Shahada and the baptismal, or the nationality procedure, as it says on the Civics 101 link that you can click that's pinned to the top of the room. And with that, let me just give a quick reset before we go into this last part of our service here today. So to join us, if you want to join us, come on stage and be invited on stage and talk with us. You can click that gray block of words at the top, or the green mansion that says World Temple, and click join us, and we'll be happy to bring you here on top. We are branch temple number 24 of the Moorish Science Temple of America. We are a global branch of the Moorish Science Temple of America, chartered and incorporated, and we are teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed. And we would like you all to come and link yourself with the family of nations. So if you're looking to learn the truth about how to proclaim your nationality and really get a solid procedure, this is how you do such. Not just grab a ID and a claim offline. You actually have to be a part of a branch temple of the Moorish Science Temple of America. So, and this is what is put into law, and this is what actually protects you. So that way we could act as amicus curiae on your behalf. And with that, let's go into this proclamation of nationality procedure, which is the pronouncement of one's nationality that will be held on Holy Day for all civilians, denizens, templars, peacemakers, or Muslims all over the world. During the ceremony, the new civilian or templars will be ordained an El, Bey, or Day, and given his or her royal peerage title of kin, honorable, lady, noble, nin, naya, prince, or princess by the Grand Sheik and Divine Minister, and also receive his or her nationality card and button from our Divine Minister of the Grand Major Temple. Upon conclusion of the nationality proclamation, the Grand Sheik and Divine Minister will have the civilian, templars, and temple prospect stand while he or she reads the authority of the Moorish Science Temple of America. It is by virtue of this document that can be found in Herod's revised statutes that gives the Moorish Science Temple of America, Asia, and Africa the authority to restore the nationality and birthrights of the lost Asiatics of America, Asia, Africa, and all world islands, and give them their title to their vast estate and their heritage. The Grand Sheik and or Divine Minister is to read from the card and have the new national state, Allah is God, and Noble Joe Ali, the Prophet, and I am Moorish American, African, or Asian, and or world islander. This is our Moorish clarification of faith or Shahada, and our national pledge of allegiance. The new civilian or templars' free national name should then be added to the temple's books of life as they enroll in the Civics 101 course. The nationality ceremony should be conducted by the Grand Sheik and Divine Minister, or any other Divine Minister so designated by the Grand Sheik and Divine Minister in his or her time of absence, and most notably by the Assistant Grand Sheik and Divine Minister. The nationality card and naturalization application must be signed on the back bearing the name and title of the Divine Minister who issued the card and the date of its issuance. The Religious Corporation Act has deemed the Global Interdependent School District and the Incorporated and Chartered Moorish Science Temple of America, Africa, and Asia as a religious trust and theocratic government established in 1928 on August 20th. This religious trust is the true global trusteeship system for the Holy Family of Nations, forming the global nucleus. All right, y'all, so let's go. Let me put this link up here at the top for us. And let's go into the closing and last part of today's temple service. We want to give all honors to our members, guest congregational members. Give honors to my brother Jonathan here. Give all honors to the Prophet Noble Joe Ali, to the Forerunner. Give all honors to the Forerunner Marcus Garvey. Give all honors to the Messenger, and other leaders, prominent leaders that we have throughout the this indigenous community in this global village. All right, y'all. So the link is pinned to the top of the room, and y'all can join us. The temple dues is less than a coffee, way less than a coffee. So you're not paying an arm, butt, and a leg, to get things done. So with that, let's go ahead and get into the last part of these lectures. I'm sorry, literature, and let's talk about it. Because the prophet left us with some divine warnings, y'all, and the prophet want us to read it at every temple service. So let's touch on it. It said Islam. It said the prophet said, "I'm glad to know that I have a few faithful Moors among you all, and I desire for them to know the truth and the divine truth. There's a host of jealousy about me and the movement now by the same people of our side of the nation that claim that I was only a joke and unreal. But now, since they have found out from the government officials and the nations of the earth that this is the only sole foundation that all Asiatics must depend upon for their earthly salvation as American citizens, they are working every scheme that they can to disqualify me, so they may take charge of the situation. I have notified all these things to you long ago in the past. It is through the faithful Moors that attribute to the movement and uplifting funds. The ones that paid their divine respect to me and the movement will be remembered. This is why I'm calling upon all faithful Moors to increase their faithfulness to me, your prophet, and your divine Moorish movement. I need finance and I need it badly. Never before have I needed finance so badly as I do at present, so I can shove aside the discord that is facing the nation. It all comes through jealousy because of my fame and nobility. The nations of the world will not recognize the movement without me, the prophet, being head. It has been proven by my works, which I have performed in the past few years. Prophet Noble Ali. And the prophet is really talking about a lot of these global projects that has been, taken from the Moorish Science Temple of America and haven't been propagated or initiated and established, by the Moors of the Moorish Science Temple, which is what is supposed to be done. Even dealing with the financing. This is why when it talks about when things change over, it'll be in Moors' favor, because there'll be some Moors in this day and time doing the divine works on behalf of the Moorish Science Temple of America, and which is what has been done. The world treasurer for the World Temple has took it upon himself to assist me in the great work of establishing smart contracts for us that can be utilized as currency and tender in the community, and do this for all Moorish Science temples and indigenous peoples across the world and global villages. And we really got to get out here in the world. There's a lot more to the world than just us being in these states where we are at. Even myself, working on learning multiple languages, vast information across the planet, and this way, we can communicate with not just people in America, but people all over the world. So, it's best you learn, 2 or 3 languages, if you can. Especially those languages that kind of have their spread, uh, you know, throughout the global village. So let's get into this last warning from the prophet that the prophet wants us to read in every temple meeting and every temple service. And with that, the prophet said, I hereby inform all members that they must end all radical speeches while at work, in their homes, or on the streets. We are for peace and not destruction. Stop flashing your card to Europeans. It causes confusion. Remember, your card is for your salvation. Failure to obey these orders will be of severe consequence. We are for love, true peace, freedom, and justice. And when these principles are violated, justice must then take its course. Any member or group of members who hold malicious feelings toward the temple or the prophet, or violate the divine covenant of the Moorish movement, will receive their reward from Allah for their unjust deeds. All true Moors will and must obey the laws laid down to them by their prophet. If they lose confidence in their prophet, they should turn in their card and button, cease wearing a turban and fez, and return to the state where I, the prophet, found you. This is a holy and divine movement founded by the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. And if the Prophet right, the Prophet therefore is sending out the divine plea to all Moorish Americans that they do their part in protecting their Prophet and the temple. This is an everlasting movement founded by the Prophet through the will of Allah to redeem his people from their sinful ways. True peace. Noble Drew Ali. All right. So, you know, we touched on a lot here tonight, but just to bring it home, we want to get things understood. It was one of the sayings that I was gonna read. I didn't get a chance to read, but it pretty much aligns up with what the prophet said in that warning. We want to make sure that we understand these cards are for your salvation, for your for your your ID and the national ID structure that's been put into effect. And that's actually what I was reading about in this manual that I was telling y'all. I was telling Brother Jonathan just earlier that I was reading the other day, over the past couple of days. This this is something heavy, because we have to get together with our civic engagement. And like I say, we'd rather be, in these other rooms, like I said for last week, we'd rather be in these other rooms just and just talking up a storm, but we're not really getting to no initiative form of work. And that's why you see it, it'd be very few people here in a room, because this is a room that requires work. It requires action, with the faith. If you're gonna have faith, divine faith at that, which a lot of people, get kind of stuck on being knowledgeable versus the wisdom understanding of faith. We know that, we're not supposed to believe in things, especially what's called blind faith or blind hope and things like that. That's not what we're here to do. But when things seem to manifest, through things such as automatic writing and automatic drawing and all these type of things, and they come to pass, then this is beyond, our faith and hope. These are the divine. This is divine nature, higher intelligences, letting us know the things that shall come to pass. Because people move on the lower self. So, the spiritual person knows what the physical person is going to do. And we have to understand that deeply. But you can go ahead and click the link that's pinned to the top of the room if you want to join us. Like I said, it's less than a coffee, and we have 6 tiers that you can get involved on. You could also join us as a family officer and a templeist or a therapist, some type of doctor, whatever field you might be in, whether is whatever type of therapy you're doing, or even as a legal doctor as well, falls under that category as well. So come get involved, come link yourself with the family of nations. Let's build our own economy, let's build our own structure system, which we have started the ball off with. And come assist yourself, because you're not just helping me, you're helping yourself. I'm just doing the basic ground level work, showing the example of what can be done and what will be done, continuing forward. So with that, y'all, let's go into this divine prayer, and then we're gonna close it out. Appreciate you, Brother Jonathan, for being here with me and doing this. You know how I feel about the people that come in and really take their time out on Fridays to really be here and take this these divine meetings serious. Like I say, we want to attend all meetings promptly. But those who gather in the name, that's where you find the spirit, whether it's two, three or more. This is where you find that divine spirit. And we're not going too heavy into the prayer, but we can. So let's go ahead and close it out. Do the prayer real quick, and then we're gonna close out. Y'all know how this go. 5 fingers up, 2 fingers up, feet at a 45-degree angle. So you can say it along with me. Y'all know how it go. Facing the east. Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, true peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my God, and my salvation, by night and by day, through his holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali. Amen. All right. Peace and blessings, Noble. See you next week. Well, y'all can join me on Wednesday.
I don't know if Saturday, tomorrow.
Oh yeah,
last
tomorrow.
Saturday.
Are you talking about last week?
Yeah, I don't know if there's a recording of that one somewhere. Those are gonna be up on the Patreon at some point.
Well, nah, that's it wasn't none because nobody
That's separate. I see. Okay.
Yeah, so I didn't go into recording, but I will be working on that, putting them on the Patreon. Because I'm still trying to get this website back up as well, so we can just go.
Right. Because I know that's where they were before. Was in there. I kind of wanted to say a little bit about what you just said, closing out, about the languages. Because I've been listening to some stuff lately, Pimsleur-based language learning, and it's one thing to have like these lenses, because now they have all this technology where you can just like point your camera at a sign and it translates it for you no matter where you're at. And there's all these language, from text to speech and whatnot, but all the automation isn't the same as learning the language and working your brain to pronunciate and participate wherever you're at. So it's like, looking towards the future with world travel and being productive, what we're doing, being able to not become, a future of bots, but to still have that respect for the ancestral and kind of integrating somewhat into that society, actually putting your heart and soul into what you're doing rather than just, it's not just about the processing. So yeah, I've been listening to languages and learning a little bit myself. And like back to that spirit too, like the technology. I just saw the movie Hackers, and the movie Hackers was like an old 1995 film where it was kind of like these hackers versus like this security data guy who was supposed to be protecting this agency, when it turned out he was the one who was trying to like swindle money out of them. And all those things are changing now because you do have the Bitcoin in play. And so like all these old ideas or old dramas that were, where the hacker was the bad guy and then, the data security guy was the good guy. And, this back and forth yin and yang is kind of reaching the end of the rope, and the truth has to, the cream has to, the cream's been churned, it's been churned, and the truth has to rise to the top at this point based on who, what, when, where, why, and how. And, so that's why I'm here. The big reason why I'm here, because of technology. And so, I'm going to be using technology, with great power comes great responsibility. So, anyway, yeah, just throwing that out there. Thank you.
We gotta have that conversation. No, thank you, Brother Jonathan. We gotta have that conversation about your company. I'm looking forward to that.
Right. Yeah, me too. I've been doing my best to get organized. So like once there's just little things coming together, and once those click, I'll be able to have like space to be able to start driving without feeling like I'm hitting a bunch of bumps or trying, going off the road and whatnot. Sometimes it can be a little bit crazy getting the mind to align with the path that's been laid out. And that's the beautiful thing about this, and what this is, what I see it as being representing is that a path that's been laid out pre-technology that allows for the communications and development of a structure in use of it as well. So it's almost, God works in mysterious ways, and to me it looks like it's a whole thing that was planned, before, whether known or unknown, it's staying
right.
in that wondrous spirit. I guess the summer.
Thank you for that, Brother John. Really appreciate it. Especially with today, with everything, all the ADHD, it's hard for our people to focus on one thing, one purpose, and trust the process. So I really appreciate you, brother, for tapping in with me. And well, we already did the prayer, so I'm just close this out. Join me on Friday, on tomorrow, Family Day if you can, and I'll see you then. And then Sunday and Monday we got the round table, the Ramesses social media, and up on Monday as well.
Okay,
Okay.
we'll do.
We'll do.
Yep.
We'll do. Yep. Much love, brother. Let's close it out. Truth is why do.